This is the first time I've ever heard of anything like that. I do know that I was talking to my mom who lives in Michigan, and she said some of the schools there were having some of the same things. So I didn't feel as bad about it being here. Oregon is pretty much a small town, so everybody kind of knows everybody. So I think I was shocked. So I think it's just a part of going to school, right? Kids have cooties. I've always said that, and so I think inevitably she might get it. I know that a lot of people offer the flu shot, so I usually make sure she gets the flu shot around flu season just to help combat some of that. So I do that. It's not so much that I'm worried, but I know that it's hard, like especially for single parents when the school closes. So I think I'm more concerned about that than the virus itself. Is like the impact that it has on families. I do understand the importance of making sure you follow whatever the requirements are to keep it from spreading. And I think I get nervous because even though the pandemic was a while ago, it still is fresh in your mind when something like this happens.
Towards the end of last week, we're really getting a lot of symptoms and sick kids. And then I said, well, this week is going to be a real doozy. And then Monday morning, we had about an hour where the phone was just ringing off the wall and parents calling kids in sick. And I walked in and out of the elementary rooms, and they were all coughing and sniffling, and I thought, man, we got to do something. We're a small school district, maybe 300 kids total, K-12, and I think we had 50 of them by 9 o'clock. 50 of them were gone, and then they were dropping like flies throughout the day. So uh, there's no need to fight all that. The symptoms were just all over the board. It wasn't. It was everywhere from bronchitis to RSV to actual flu. So it was all over the place. Maybe one time, one day outside of COVID, but maybe one time, one day we had a really, really bad outbreak of flu, and it was leading into a 3-day weekend. So we called it a day early so we could deep clean the buildings, but nothing really like this. I imagine if it wasn't for Christmas break, we would have maybe tried to make it a couple more days. But we didn't want staff and students going to their family Christmases sick and taking this stuff to their grandma and grandpas. And, that's important. So we wanted to really get everybody well by Christmas was the goal, and to get the buildings deep cleaned.
Jelajahi cara baru mendapatkan informasi. Download Metro TV Extend sekarang.